And even the ones that were pretty ready, they were designed in such a way that they were sometimes not manufacturable. We, I had seen for 3 years that people come to Shenzhen with a prototype sometimes and say, okay, this is my prototype, it's ready. Can you help me manufacture this? And that prototype was just not ready. And even the ones that were pretty ready, they were designed in such a way that they were sometimes not manufacturable.
Can you explain
or they
about
were
what do you mean by ready?
When you build your very first prototype, usually it's a proof of concept. It's only to test that the idea can function as such. And then you move to a second prototype and you make it a little bit look like the product what you want to make. And you build a prototype to test one part of it. Then you build a couple of prototypes to test specific parts of your product until you are satisfied and you said, I'm now ready to go to manufacturing. This is a very simplified explanation, but basically how it works. Now, let's say you need a plastic shell around your product. That plastic shell needs to be designed in a way that it can be produced in an injection mold, and the injection mold needs to be able to eject it. So the fluid plastic is injected in the mold, then it hardens, and then the product is ready. It needs to be pushed out of the mold. If your design is not correct, the plastic won't be able to be ejected from the mold because it will pull a vacuum in the mold. So you can't have straight corners. You always have to have a little bit kind of a shape that it can easily let go from each other. This is a very simple thing, what everybody here knows, but what basically nobody knows overseas. So when they design their shell, they forget about these things. Or they said, I want my shell to be ultrasonic welded together because that is a very solid way. And they don't know how to create the small edges, what you need for ultrasonic welding. So in that regards, their product is just not ready. They need to update the design to be ready for mass production. The same for the components. They design a PCB and maybe they place the components in such a way that an automatic pick and place machine is not able to place the components or not place it very fast. So that will slow down your production and will make your production cost go up. Your components. If you buy components in Europe or in America, you buy it usually online from the big retailers. Those components are available in China, but they're usually way too expensive. We can have compatible components, good quality compatible components, which are maybe 1/10 of the price of those big retailers. And they're available off the shelf, so we can get those components fast. I can give you one example here, actually. One of the teams is doing an off-grid solar startup, and they came to us about 2 years ago, and they had a bill of material that was so the bill of material is the list of materials what you need to build your product. If you buy all those products and you put it together, you can build your device. So that's called the list of materials. And the cost price of their bill of materials was $150. And they said, well, we have to get our cost down. That's why we come to China. Can you help us? So I called one of my electronic engineers, and I said, can you help this guy getting the price down? So he sat with them for a while, and they were impatient and they were pushing. He said, hey, not so fast. And then maybe 10 minutes later, he gave them a rough price to get down the cost, just based on looking on Taobao. And he said, well, I think I can get the price down to $15. They said, what? Get out of here. And he said, okay, $10. So this is a really good example of let's say not being ready. I mean, if you design a product and the cost for producing it is $150 if you produce it in your own country, and you come to China and the same materials cost you $10, then but you need to find the local equivalents of your components. And then you need to design your PCB in a way that you can place those components very fast, design your casing in a way that it can be mass produced. Then you have a product what's compatible in the market. Now, this startup, they had 3 people when they came to me 2 years ago, and they now have 30 people. They actually have hired my engineer. They have won prizes, and they are in the market with an off-grid solar product.
Wow, that is incredible. Whoa, so hold on a second. So those parts that they use in China is much cheaper and it is more affordable, right? However, but the thing is, because they are not available maybe in Europe or US, so it is when they design it, so the design will never be ready if they only use the European parts or US parts. Is that true?
Yeah.